Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing good today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this video. Let's get our candle going. Today I thought it would be fun, seeing as how I've been getting back into Magic, and I posted a Magic video earlier this week. A lot of you were interested that we go over a deck that I play. I did a pre-con. I actually recorded that video a month or two ago, I think. So I've been playing that. Today, let's go over a very infamous play deck. This is Krenko Mob Boss. So, if you know anything about Magic, this guy, Krenko, he's got kind of a reputation. Very popular, one of the most played commanders today. And, you know, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about mono red players. If you're just getting into Magic, you'll find that there's kind of like a meme about mono red players and like eating crayons, not being very smart, stuff like that. But I don't want to say that I'm a professional or a veteran or anything, but I'm going to say something kind of controversial. I think Krenko Mob Boss is a fantastic deck to build if you are just getting into Magic. Obviously, if you are brand new to the game, you will want, a pre-con or something you can buy that already exists. But for Krenko, if you want to build a deck from scratch, Krenko is a fantastic start. He costs 4. His ability is you can tap him and create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. So super tribal, super based around, let's just pump out as many goblins as possible. There's a lot of support for this character. There's a lot of people that play this deck, so there's a ton of resources that you can use. I think this is a great deck. So I thought that we could go through it today. Kind of go through it. That being said, this deck is not super optimal. As you can see, I'm about to pull out Time Bomb. There's no reason for Time Bomb to be in this deck besides I thought it was funny. During your upkeep, put a time counter on Time Bomb, and then you can pay 1 and sacrifice to deal damage to each creature and player the amount of Time Bomb counters. Just thought it'd be fun. Next is a classic Goblin Grenade. Sacrifice a goblin, deal 5 damage. Boom. Just super, you make a million tokens. All right, let's just sacrifice 1 and deal 5. Skirk Drill Sergeant is very cool. Whenever he or another goblin is put in the graveyard, you can pay 3, 2 colorless and a mountain, to reveal top card of your library. If it's a goblin card, put it into play, otherwise put it in your graveyard. If you're running a lot of creatures like I am, not so many spells, just a super good way to churn through your deck and kind of spin the wheels. This is one of the newest additions to my deck, Marvin Murderous Mimic. He's a toy. He has all activated abilities of creatures you control. So, for example, you play Krenko, and then you play Marvin. You can tap Krenko to make a bunch of goblins, and then you can tap Marvin with the same activated ability and do it again. So there's free value. Mountains. I got some pretty cool old mountains. I got some from my dad. This is one I got from my dad. And then just going bulk shopping for some big ones. Obviously, these are super beat, super play. Dwarven Ruins, old card, really cool. Here's one of the better cards for this deck, Conspicuous Snoop. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may cast goblin spells from top of your library. As long as the top card of your library is a goblin card, Conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card. So, not only do you get to play with your deck face up, you can see what's coming up, decide to mill it, decide to scry it, put it on the bottom, whatever. Or you could just play it if it's a goblin. If it's a goblin and you can't play it, it has all the activated abilities. This is a super good card. If you're running Krenko, Conspicuous Snoop is super good. Swift Boot is a staple for every Magic deck. If not Swift Boot, Lightning Greaves. Equip creature has Hexproof and Haste. Costs to equip 1. So if you get this in your starting hand, play it on turn 2 or turn 3. Play Krenko on turn 3 or 4. Equip it to Krenko, give him haste, he can immediately tap. You immediately start getting value for that commander. Another Old Mountain. This is one of my favorite cards, Heirloom Wrangler. He has Denim Walk. So if you've never played Magic, there is this like land walking ability. So Swamp Walk, Island Walk, Mountain Walk. Basically, Mountain Walk, for example, which will come up later in this deck. If your opponent controls a mountain, they cannot block your creature. Well, this guy has Denim Walk. If that player is wearing any clothing made of denim, this creature is unblockable. This creature is banned. It's not particularly good. It's good if your opponent is wearing jeans. Other than that, it's a really fun card. I just love pulling it out and going, yeah, are you wearing denim? Yeah, I can't block. Temple of False God is another classic. Tap to add 2 to your mana pool as long as you have 5 or more lands. Just by the time that you have 5 lands, if you play this on turn 5, you're a mana ahead. You're a land ahead. It's just really good. Classic card. Goblin Pile Driver. Protection from blue. Whenever he attacks, he gets +2 until end of turn for each other attacking goblin. So you beef him up, you tap Krenko, make 4 goblins. He's going to get 4 +2s, making him +8 for 9/2. Just really good value. Easy. Boom, boom, boom. Just clock in. Another classic card, speaking of Mountain Walk. Goblin King. This is an old card. All goblins in play gain Mountain Walk and +1/+1 while this card remains in play. So you buff all your goblins and you give them all Mountain Walk. So if your opponent is playing Mountain and they have a mountain on the field, you cannot block my creatures. They all have Mountain Walk until you kill Goblin King. To become King of the Goblins, one must assassinate the previous king. Thus, only the most foolish seek positions of leadership. Funny card, fun card. If you're going to run Krenko, this is a necessity. I don't think that this is negotiable. Sting, the Glinting Dagger from the Lord of the Rings set. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste at the beginning of each combat. Untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. So you equip this to Krenko. You tap Krenko in your main phase. Boom, I'm going to make some goblins. Combat starts. I'm going to untap Krenko. I'm going to tap him again. Boom, I'm going to make some more goblins. On your turn, your combat's going to start. I'm going to untap Krenko. Now I can use him to block, seeing as how he's a 4/4. It's usually pretty good value by turn 4. Or I'll just tap him again. And I'll just keep pumping out goblins every single turn. You're playing commander with 3-4 people. You untap Krenko 3-4 times before you even get to your turn. It's fantastic. Just a fantastic card. Another mountain, Old Mountain. Mog War Marshal. This is a pretty cheap card. It's really got some really good early game value. Cost 2. Whenever he enters or dies, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, and he has Echo. So you play him, create a 1/1 goblin. The next turn, you have to pay his Echo cost. If you don't, he'll die. You create another goblin. So for 2, you create 2 1/1 goblins. Or you can pay his Echo cost, keep him, and then when he dies, create another goblin. Goblin War Strike, super good. Deals damage equal to the number of goblins you control to target player. It's a 1 cost, so it costs virtually nothing. I'm playing Krenko. I'm going to make 10 goblins, and then for 1 mana, I'm going to deal 10 damage to you. Just super good value. Super good value. Mountain. Another Old Mountain. I love the artwork on these old mountains. John Avon putting his name in the trees. Very cool. Little signature. Another pretty cheap, good ramp card. Hordling Outburst. Put 3 1/1 red goblin creatures on the field. Super cheap. So if I have him and Krenko out, I'm going to make 3 goblins. I'm going to tap Krenko. I have 3 1/1s and Krenko. I'm going to make 4 more goblins. In 1 turn, I've made 7 goblins. Oh, I have Goblin War Strike, I'm going to deal 7 damage to you for an additional mana. Super good. Goblin Wizardry, very similar. Create 2 red and 1, 2/1/1 red Goblin Wizard creature tokens with prowess. Very similar, except now they're wizards. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, they get +1/+1 until end of turn. Just some good ramp. Get some variety of some goblins out there. Another old mountain. This one, Douglas Schule. Forgotten Cave. Again, another old mountain. Old mountain. Again, Douglas Schule. Goblin Lookout. Sacrifice a goblin. Tap to sacrifice a goblin. All goblins get +2 until end turn. So I have a 10 tokens. I tap this guy, sacrifice 1. The remaining 9 tokens get +2. Now they're 3 ones. Super good. Super good. For 2, very good. Goblin Lookout. Spawn Gang Commander. This guy's not, the most optimal. I like his art, so I keep him. He's an Eldrazi goblin. He's devoid. When you cast him, you get 3 Eldrazi Eldrazi spawn. Which then you can sacrifice for land, or you can sacrifice this creature to deal 2 damage. Just a good ramp card. If I have some, you have an expensive card that you want to play, get you 3 mana just floating through the Scions. That old mountain. This is from set 7, generation 7, I think is the set. I don't remember. Cool card. Demand Answers. I have this card because most of the time I have problems card drawing, or I want, a specific goblin. So just draw 2 cards. Cheap card. Goblin Chieftain. This is the Secret Lair set Goblin Graham card. So this guy gives all your goblins +1/+1 in haste. And it is structured after like a Instagram, Facebook post. You see comments by Goblin Welder and Through in the Last Troll, both also creatures. Very cool. Very cool, very funny. For a funny card. The reactions you get for playing this card are very funny. It's like a $5 card. Goblin Negotiation. You pay an X amount of mana and 2 mountains to deal X damage to a creature, and then whatever the excess damage is, create that many goblins. So if you're really just trying to pump some goblins out and you have a lot of land, throw 7 mountains down here, deal 5 damage, destroy a 1/1 and create 4 goblins, and then tap Krenko and make 5 more. It's just some cheap value, and if you don't even use it for that, it's just good to destroy some big creatures. Another mountain. Another mountain. Goblin Surprise. Again, just some good ramp. Create 2 goblins or give them all +2. So depending on when you pull this card, you can pick whichever one is going to be more beneficial. Late game, give them buffs. Early game, make some goblins. Untimely Malfunction. I pulled this card myself and then found out it was worth a little bit of money. Foil. Destroy artifact. Change target of a spell. 1 or 2 creatures can't block. Just good value. Good value. Urbrask's Forge is really fun. It's a little weird. It's the only oil token that I have in this deck. At the beginning of combat, put an oil counter and then create a X1 red horror token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil tokens, and then sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. So basically you're just pumping this guy every turn that he's on, he's getting stronger, and then just getting that value out, forcing you to, if you don't attack with that token, it's getting sacrificed anyways. So you might as well just throw tokens out there, and eventually if it doesn't get destroyed, you have 5/1 with trample for virtually nothing. You're doing the rest of this stuff. Skirt Prospector, another good card. Sack a goblin, add a mountain. So Goblin Negotiation, for example, I can sacrifice 10 goblins, try to do 10 goblin damage. Really good. And this procs sacrificing procs and stuff and triggers, which we'll get to here in a little bit, but just super cool card. Ruby Medallion, a classic. Red spells cost 1 less. Start with this pretty early. You can get some cool goblins and stuff out there. Negotiable if this card really needs to be in this deck, because there's a lot of goblins that are strictly like mountain based, but like, I mean, you play a Mog War Marshal for a single mountain. It's a good drop. Goblin Slitter. Sack a goblin. Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Again, giving you those sacrifice tokens and sacrifice triggers for free. Super cool. Rendezvous Horde Master. Other goblins you control get +1/+1, and then whenever he or another goblin dies, exile a top card of your library. If it's a goblin, you can cast that until the end of your next turn. So again, just churning through that deck, churning through your deck. Goblin Matron is a really good cheap card. Whenever you play her, search your deck for a goblin card. So depending on what the situation is, you just get whatever card you need, man. Just go looking for it. Super cool. Shared Animosity. This is really good for this deck. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1 for each other attacking creature that shares a type with it. So you make 10 goblins. Each goblin attacks. They get +1 for each other goblin. That's 9 other goblins. So you make all of your ones 10 ones. Super good. Super good for these tribal decks. If you're running, I mean, Eldrazi, goblins, any kind of tribal. Yeah, even with Myr. Myr is good with this. Shared Animosity is fun. Charbelcher. Goblin Charbelcher. This is a fun one. Reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal a land card. Goblin deals damage equal to the number of non-land cards revealed in this way to any target, excuse me. If the revealed land card was a mountain, deal double that damage instead. Put the revealed card on the bottom of your library in any order. So, you want to turn through your deck and get some land? Okay, tap 3, pay 3 and tap. Goblin Charbelcher, I'm going to draw 10 cards. It's a mountain, I'm going to do double damage. Take some damage, I get my land. Super cool. Pyromancer's Goggles, super cool artifact. Tap to pay a mountain. If that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery, copy that spell. And you may choose new targets. So if I have this on the field and I choose to play, we'll say Hordeling Outburst, I can make an additional 3 to the 3 goblins I already made. So as long as I use this mana to play Hordeling Outburst, I make 6 goblins. Good for ramping. Another cool old mountain. This one's from set 8. Goblin Shrine. This is a classic. As long as target land is a mountain, this is an enchant land, all goblins get +1, +0. If Goblin Shrine leaves play, it deals 1 damage to each goblin. So if you can get another card like Rendezvous Horde Master or Goblin King or Goblin Chieftain, which buffs your goblins, you don't really have to worry about dealing 1 damage. High risk, high reward. Give all your goblins +1. If it gets destroyed, though, it will kill all of your 1/1 goblins. I always play that card. I think it's fun. I never really think about the consequences. But there have been a couple of games where that card gets destroyed and then it kills 30 goblins and, you know, I'm all salty and bitter. But what can you do? Goblin Recruiter. This is a cool card. When he comes into play, search your library for any number of goblin cards. Reveal those cards to all players, shuffle your library, then put the cards on top of your library in any order. So if you pick this guy and you have like enough land, you can play this guy and then search your deck for however many goblins you want. Just get all of them. And then just stack. Oh, I'm going to pick all of my cards that give goblins +1/+1. In 3 turns, all of my goblins are going to be 4/4s. And I'm going to still tap Krenko and make 1,000,000. Super cool. Dragonclaw, I like this card. Whenever a player casts a red spell, you gain a life. Again, in a big group setting, just gaining life is really good. This deck doesn't have a lot of life gain, so I put Dragon's Claw in here to kind of hang around and gain some of that life back. Goblin Ringleader is interesting. He has haste. When he comes into play, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, and then put all goblin cards revealed this way in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. Again, a good way to just churn through your deck and get all the goblins that you're looking for. Mountain, Douglas Schuler. Goblin War Party, very similar to Hordling Outburst, but you get a choice. Or, I think Goblin Party is the other one. Surprise Party, maybe. Create 3 red 1/1 goblins, or give your creatures +1/+1 in haste. And if you pay the entwine, you can pick both. So, make goblins or make people strong. Mod Catcher is really good. Pay 3 and tap, search your library for a goblin card, and put that card into your play. Shuffle your library. Just go and just pick one. The only problem with this card is that because the Mod Catchers are these mercenaries, not this guy. I've made this mistake before. They are mercenaries. So they don't get any of the buffs that Goblin card, like Goblin King, would give to goblins. So I've gone, oh, well, this card is a 5/5 and blah, blah, and then someone has to go, that's a mercenary, not a goblin. Super embarrassing. Don't make the same mistake as me. Goblin Trash Master. This is a fantastic card. Super cool art. This is the secret rare art as well. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. Sacrifice a goblin and destroy a target artifact. So again, churning out those sacrifice triggers, and then, oh, you have, let's say you're playing an artifact deck. You have 10 artifact creatures. I'm going to sack 10 goblins and destroy all of your creatures. Super cool. Or artifacts, utility artifacts. Soul Ring, Patchwork Banner is this next card. This would be a great, oh, wow, would you look at that? Speak of the devil, right? Patchwork Banner. As he enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. And then add a mana of any color. So I'm going to go, okay, goblins. Now all of my goblins have +1/+1. Super cool. Soul Ring, a staple in any Magic deck if you're new to the game. Costs 1, you tap it to add 2. Just super efficient. Great for Commander. A lot of decks. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. Orcish Oriflame. Again, just given that aggression that goblins are good at, getting real aggressive. I'm gonna attack you, get +3, +0. Response, blockers, super cool. This is a diabolical card that I just recently picked up. Thornbite Staff. Equipped creature has pay 2 and tap. This creature deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever a creature dies, untap this creature. So there is an infinite that exists between these two cards. So let's say, for example, you can really pick any of these cards that have these sack triggers. But let's say, for example, we're playing Goblin Trash Master. So what you can do is, at the beginning of your turn, you have Thornbite Staff equipped to Krenko. I'm going to tap Krenko. I'm going to make 2 goblins. I'm going to sacrifice one of them to destroy a target artifact. And then I'm going to untap Krenko. And then I'm going to sacrifice, or I'm going to tap him again. I'm going to make 1, 2, and we have our 2 tokens to make 4 more. And then I'm going to sacrifice 1. And then I'm going to just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. For this example, you have to destroy a target artifact. But for something like Skirk Prospector that creates mana, you can just create infinite mana. You can create infinite goblins. This is a really mean combo. I don't usually play it to like an infinite amount. It's a good way to soil the party, but if you're going up against someone who's getting, up in arms, it's a good reminder that, oh yeah, by the way, I'm playing Krenko Mob Boss, and I'm going to infinite you to death. Goblin Slide's fun. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay an additional mana. If you do, put a 1/1 red goblin creature token with haste on the battlefield. So, again, a lot of creatures in this deck. With Goblin Slide, even if you are playing a non-creature card, you can still get a creature out of it. Super good. Granzo Havoc Razor. This is the borderless art. I love these borderless arts. Whenever you deal combat damage, you can go to a target creature, or you can exile a top card of that player's library and then play it with any mana that you Super good if you're dealing a lot of combat damage. You can churn through your opponent's deck. More annoying than not. Mountain. Another mountain. Hazoret's Monument. Really cool card. Red creature spells you cast cost 1 less. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So this combined with Ruby Medallion, all of our goblins cost 2 less. Just keep churning them. And then whenever you cast a creature spell, you can discard a card, draw another card, get more. Just boom, boom, boom. Churn that out. Outnumber is very similar to Goblin War Strike, but instead of being a player, it has to be creature. Oh, you're playing Ulek or one of those super big, Emrakul, one of the big Eldrazi's. I'm gonna destroy it with 15 1/1 goblin damage. Another cool mountain, John Avon. I think we've seen that one before. We've seen this one before. Again, Avon putting his name. Glimpse the Impossible is okay. Exile top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards. If any of them remain in exile, create a Eldrazi spawn. So either you're going through your deck, you're playing cards, or you're getting mana for the cards that you might not want to play. Relentless Assault. This one's really cool. It gives you another combat phase. Classic card. So if I have 30 goblins, I'm going to attack you with 30 goblins and then play Relentless Assault. Have another combat phase. And untap all my creatures and attack you with 30 more. So, super cool. Blood Moon. This is another really mean card. All non-basic lands are mountains. So I don't run a whole lot of non-basic lands in this deck because I don't really need dual lands or anything like that. I have a couple that can cycle, like Forgotten Cave, but if you're going up against somebody who's playing a lot of dual lands and I'm playing a lot of non-basics, Command Tower, stuff like that, you turn them all into mountains. So they can't use them. If they're not running red, they can't use them at all. And then, my Goblin King gives all of my goblins Mountain Walk, and now you have all mountains. So take 1 million damage. Super fun. Another Douglas Schuler Mountain. Goblin Balloon Brigade is really fun. I just really like the artwork on this. It's a 1/1. You can pay for it to fly. So if you need a block like a clutch flying creature, can't go wrong with that. Mountain. I love this mountain art. Super dark and brooding. Another mountain. Ravage Highlands. Kind of like what I was saying. Don't have a whole lot of non-basic lands, but this is one example. Looks like we found a little mana clump here. I wonder if I didn't shuffle from the last time I played. Staff of Domination, another good equip card, or artifact card for Krenko. You can pay 1 to untap it, and then you can pay however many to retap it. So if you have a million mana, or let's say Skirk Prospector, where you can kill a goblin for a land. Let's say I have 5 goblins. Well, I'm going to pay 3. I'm going to tap Krenko and make 5 more goblins. I'm going to pay 3 to untap Krenko, make more goblins, sack a goblin for 1 floating mana. I'm going to untap Staff. And then I'm going to sack 3 goblins for 3 mana. I'm going to untap Krenko by tapping Staff of Domination. He's going to tap and make 1 million more goblins. Another good combo. This one's a little bit more complicated to get an infinite going, but when you get one going, it's really fun. Goblin War Truth. Goblin spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Goblins you control have haste. So this with Hazoret Monument and Ruby Medallion, your goblins cost 3 less. You're just churning out goblins. Super cool. And he gives all your goblins haste. Goblin War Driver. Battle Cry gives other attacking creatures +1 when this creature attacks. For 2 mountains. Cheap. Really aggressive. Puppet Strings, another staple, I think. Similar to Staff of Domination, but a little bit cheaper. You pay 2 and tap this to untap creature. So you get 2 Krenko taps per turn. It's really good. Foundry Street Denizens is pretty fun. Whenever another red creature enters the battlefield under your control, he gets +1 to end a turn. So if you're making a million red goblins with Krenko, you get 1,000,000 damage until the end of turn, or 1,000,000 +1 until the end of turn. Super fun. Godotha Ringleader, giant with Battle Cry, and he's 4/4, and he has to attack each turn if able. Honestly, if there was a creature card to go next in my deck, it'd probably be this. But it helps support that like really aggressive playstyle, so it's really fun. You can just rip them, go attack crazy. Mountain. Dropkick Bomber is really fun. Give all your creatures, or excuse me, other goblins +1/+1. And then you pay a red to give a goblin flying, but have to sacrifice it next turn. So again, if you're going against like a bird deck or something and they have a bunch of flyers, or an angel deck has a bunch of flyers, you can pay a bunch of mana, make a bunch of your 1/1s flying to kind of clutch block, not take any of that flying damage. Super cool. Impact Tremors, a classic, a staple for this deck, I think. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. So combine Krenko with Puppet Strings and have this on the field. I'm going to tap Krenko, make 4 goblins, deal 4 damage to everybody, untap them with Puppet Strings, tap them again, make 7 more goblins, deal, 7 damage to everybody. And then in my main phase, I've dealt 11 damage to everybody else in the field because I just had a couple goblins. Super good with Krenko. Goblin Bombardment, again, getting those sacrifice triggers. You can sacrifice a goblin anytime, deal damage to target creature player. So, okay, I'm going to attack you with 30 goblins. I'm going to, oh, you have no blockers, you take 22 damage. Okay, at the end of my turn, I'm going to sacrifice 22 goblins and deal 22 damage. In Commander, you only have 40, so it's like, oh, you get the combat trigger, and then you can just end the game. Super good. Gleeful Demolition, you can destroy a target artifact. If you control that artifact, create 3 red 1/1 Phyrexian goblins. This is good. You can use it for artifact destruction, or you get like a second chance. If you aren't really using Dragon's Claw, you can destroy it and make some goblins. Goblin War Drums, each creature you can control cannot be blocked by only 1 creature. That is Menace. So it gives it's an enchantment that gives all your goblins Menace. Super good when you're already running a ton of goblins and trying to overwhelm the opponent, and now your opponent can't block 1/1. They have to block 2/1. Super good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I must have played and not shuffled. Got some big old mana clumps. Legion Warboss, really fun. 2/2 with Mentor. Whenever he attacks, put +1/+1 counter on an attacking creature with lesser power. And during combat, every turn he makes a 1/1 goblin. That with haste, that's attacking. So you attack with him, and then give this 1/1 goblin +1/+1 as well. So for the cost of 1 2/2 attacking, you can make 2 2/2s. Which is really good. Good for early game. And getting those other goblins to kind of buff up. Gem Palm Incinerator is really good. 2/1 for 3, not really good, but for the cycle cost, which is pay 2, discard that card, and draw a card. Whenever you cycle Gem Palm, you have it deal X damage to target creatures, where X is the number of goblins. So I have 15 goblins. I'm going to cycle it to draw a card. I draw a card, and then I deal 15 damage to you. Yeah. Or excuse me, target creature. So again, I'm playing Eldrazi often. I'm going to deal 1,000,000 damage to all your big guys. Kuldotha Rebirth. As an additional cost to cast Kuldotha Rebirth, sacrifice an artifact. Put 3 red 1/1 goblin creature tokens on the battlefield. Similar to, I already forgot, the one we just looked at, but instead of making Phyrexian goblins and attacking a creature, you have to sack 1 of your own. Or excuse me, attacking an opponent's artifact, you gotta sack 1 of your own. Prism Ring, just some cool value. Whenever he enters the battlefield, choose color. Whenever you cast a spell, actual color, gain a life. So if I combine this with the Dragon's Claw, which is red, I can pick red for this too. Every time I cast a red spell, I gain 2 life. Super cool. Just keeping you in the game if you're taking a lot of damage. Smoldering Craterland. And then that's it. We're at some extras. These are some I took out of my deck recently. I use this as a token for my goblins. Just thought it would be fun to draw on one. So yeah, for example, these are some that I just took out. So there's constantly a rotation on these goblins. And that, I mean, that is my Krenko deck, guys. Super simple. This deck did cost me, you know, it's a magic deck. It cost me some money, but most of the value comes from, I got some secret layers, mod catchers, like $6, I think. So you can definitely build a really good goblin deck for like almost nothing and then pump it up. So yeah, I mean, I would be happy to answer any questions you guys have about Krenko. I have some other decks. If you want me to go through them, please let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for stopping by today. If you enjoyed this, let me know. I'll make more. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, all the stuff that all the YouTubers tell you to do. Cool. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.